Hello everyone and welcome to the Summer Challenger Series. Of course, we're going to be covering Europe and we do see some different faces here. Of course, my name is going to be Sir Danny. Alongside me, I do have my wonderful partner. It is going to be Beneficus.
Hi, Danny.
How are you doing, Beneficus? We're going to be covering some great Guns of Boom action today.
Exactly. It's been already an action-packed day for us here. For those of you who don't know, we are the casters covering the Southeast Asia region, and we decided we'll have a gawk at the Europe and see what's going on here on this side of the ocean. So very excited to be here, and one more time, as I already said, a huge hello and welcome everyone to the stream.
So yeah, of course, one of the great things we can start off with is, of course, the standings here for the European region, because in comparison to our region, Southeast Asia, it is pretty much dominated by a couple of teams here, but things are a little bit different here. Of course, here, the #1 spot here goes down to back-to-back, who have been looking pretty great here in online play, and here, of course, the second place is going to be Knights of Honor, and the third place is going to come down to Lazarus.
And that 4th, 5th spot currently being taken by Edge Infinity Esports and Dust 2 Esports. Now, this being week number 5, this does mean that for Lazarus as well as Edge Infinity Esports and, well, theoretically Dust 2 Esports as well, it's pretty much make it or break it point in terms of if they can actually get into those top 2 spots.
Yeah, basically, because right now the Summer Challenger Series is coming to a close, and these last couple of weeks are going to be so important for both squads. Of course, here, things are a little bit different here to comparison to what we've done in Southeast Asia. Is here, 2 teams are able to secure themselves a spot in the Pro Series Finals. So obviously, it does make a lot of sense to try and battle it out for as long as possible, because here the competition is a bit more fierce. And then you want to try to win every single game you've got there, garner as many points as you possibly can.
Exactly. So that's what the teams will be doing today. And speaking of the teams, let's have a look at the brackets and see how it has been played out today and which teams are going to be meeting which ones in the semis and, of course, afterwards in the grand finals. So the first pair is going to be back-to-back gaming going up against Edge Infinity Esports. And as I already said, I think it is a very important match for Edge Infinity specifically there. And in that second pair, you are going to see Lazarus going up against Knights of Honor to battle for that place in the grand finals. And of course, also deciding who gets to battle out for that 3rd, 4th place position.
Yeah, because obviously here, back-to-back have been looking a pretty dominant team here. I do believe they've made about 3 grand final appearances, and of the 3 grand final appearances, they've actually won 3 of them. So that is a pretty great track record, all things considering. And obviously, they still want to come out here, acquire the victories here, which is going to be super important. And the team that's right behind them is obviously, of course, you do have the likes of Knights of Honor, but because they're right now, they have themselves the 2nd place, for them securing the #1 slot doesn't make a lot of sense. They just want to try to keep themselves the 2nd spot. And how do you do that? Well, it's pretty simple. You go out there and you start winning yourself some games.
Okay, well, if everything
pretty
would be that
strategy.
Yeah, right? It's just simple. Just make sure you win. That's, well, pretty much goes for any game. But, so, for today's map pool, we are going to have Military Warehouse, a Paradise Island map, and, of course, we are going to finish things off in the semifinals with Europe Square. Now, looking at back-to-back going up against Edge Infinity Esports, seeing that the first map is going to be Military Warehouse, which is a team deathmatch mode, meaning that eliminations are pretty much your go-to point giver. What do you think, Danny? Do you think back-to-back gaming will be able to run away with another victory here, or will Edge come out on top, having the upper edge?
Well, I honestly think that it's going to come down to a victory to yet again to, back-to-back. They should be able to get themselves the 2-0 victory here. That's what I'm looking forward to. But, obviously, this being a best of 3, this having a map like Paradise Island, I definitely see one of the maps actually working out there for Edge. Because the fact of the matter is, Paradise Island, it is a very, I'd say, 50-50-ish map. It's very hard to be, pretty dominant at that map because it is relatively small King of the Hill map, which definitely allows you to get those quick spawns in, go to the point there as soon as possible, find yourself some easy eliminations, quick eliminations at that. And with that being said, on a map like Paradise Island, it's so hard to predict who is going to come out on top because it's, again, a map in which momentum plays such a huge role.
Well, King of the Hill scenarios just in general tend to be sometimes a bit hectic just because how it plays. Like, you basically have players throwing themselves on the same capture point, and then it's just pretty much of a matter of surviving the longest, and of course making sure you avoid those juicy G launchers flying your way. So that's definitely going to be an interesting sight to behold. But speaking of predictions here, I actually tend to be a person that holds on to the underdog, so I really think that Edge Infinity Esports, knowing what's on the line here and knowing they have this make it or break it opportunity, I really feel like they could finally really gather themselves, overcome back-to-back gaming still in the semis, and secure a spot in the grand finals. Well, that's at least what I'm hoping for, just for the sakes of an excellent match.
I mean, it would be nice if the underdog would come out on top here, but those are mostly fairy tale stories. Metaficus, I'm sorry to tell you this, it's probably going to be back-to-back securing the victory here, but I definitely see a world in which it comes down to like back-to-back actually making it 2-1 scoreline. That seems to be a very plausible scoreline, but for now, folks, no need to talk about scorelines. Let's talk about the game itself. Military Warehouse here, Team Deathmatch.
Match number 1. For week number 5, Europe here, and let's see how back-to-back gaming deal with Edge Infinity Esports. The first shots are already being made, and Deadly, it was actually Hale who made the first strike here as Gonza comes back with a 2 of his own. That's a double elimination. Hale manages to get rid of Gonza in the nick of time, but unfortunately cannot avoid that grenade as Migs does take him down, and instantly rotation around the map. As you can see, the Edge players are going to be grouping together here. They realize they need to trade effectively. First shots again being made, and it is going to be an even trade on either side here. It's neck and neck with 4 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock here, and back-to-back just have a small upper hand right now.
It is definitely a small upper hand right now for back-to-back, not looking too bad, not looking too great. But obviously it's now going to be Hale. Okay, picking up eliminations. Good stuff coming out here. Massive as well, getting elimination of his own, and he's trying to get himself the second one. Double elimination for him. And even though back-to-back they had themselves that slight edge, it's now Edge Infinity picking up 60 points out of the blue.
Exactly. Massive comes up massive for his team, giving the upper hand there. Deadly, unfortunately, is going to go down, so Migs does manage to get the best of him. Even gets a quick double elimination there as well, and finds the third, but doesn't really change that together into a triple elimination, so no real extra points gained there. Still even grounds, 3 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock here, and back-to-back making a slight push forward there. Do get rid of Deadly, falling back now. The grenade lands, but doesn't really connect, as the players are still trading it out, and 3 minutes 20 seconds on the clock. Point-in-point battle right now. Edge Infinity do have a 20-point lead.
The Blade Master's coming out here. It's going to be AK overlooking things with the Barracuda, but won't be able to get anything as of yet. Renat is back-to-back, desperately requiring to find some of these eliminations here. That's going to be him to get one. The G-Launcher coming in there, massive. Very nice pickup for him. Edge are still able to get themselves the lead here, and I think that is, in fact, yes, going to be KM getting yet another elimination of the board. Back-to-back, yes, they have themselves the lead, but it's a very small one. Hale is able to turn the tables back in favor here of Edge. Massive as well, stepping up to the playing field. Nokia not in the best position. He throws down the G-Launcher, but he should be going down, and he is. That is still Edge Infinity, still able to have themselves the slight lead here, but by this point, I wouldn't be too surprised if Edge decided to play it a bit more safe, but there's going to be Cam getting one, and Massive here. Oh, yes, he gets wrecked by the G-Launcher, and by this point, back-to-back, they need to find the eliminations here ASAP. That's going to be Nokia with the Blade Master, and by this point, Edge, they got themselves the lead here, but again, it is a very neck-and-neck affair, and the G-Launcher, there we go. Deadly taking out two, and Edge, they all got to do right now, 40 more points, and they will secure themselves the victory.
They're just going to make sure they're going to stay alive long enough here to make sure that they can close this one out safely. They need the first map, and they do get it. Edge Infinity Esports are going to take Military Warehouse here in this first semi-final of week number 5 with Hale in front there. Look, showing off those beautiful cosmetics he has. And speaking about the match, just in a few words, you definitely saw that both of these teams, at least on Military Warehouse, were definitely on the same page, being able to trade effectively, which was shown by having the same amount of points essentially for the first 3 minutes of the match, and only afterwards Edge Infinity Esports did manage to secure a slight lead and afterwards capitalize on top of that. And I must say and commend that I think, if I noticed correctly, Massive was the one that really gave them the upper hand in those battles.
Yeah, it really came down at those very last couple of minutes in which the players were able to not only rack up those eliminations, but they got themselves doubles, a couple doubles here and there, and suddenly you've got yourselves a very nice point lead. Let's take a look at the MVPs of this matchup here, as we obviously did have some names stepping up here. I think we might even get to see the likes of Nokia. No, it's going to be a Killing Machine here for back-to-back, 127 score, 9 eliminations, 3 assists, and 6 deaths.
And for Hale from Agent Infinity Esports, it is 152 points, 9 eliminations, 3 assists, and 6 deaths. So you can see that even here on the MVP screen, it is neck in neck in terms of elimination assists, and even the death toll is the same. So very interested to see now how Paradise Island will play out between the two of these, because if they continue trading out same like this, pretty much is going to be decided just in terms of who has the most amount of control over that capture point.
Yeah, because obviously King of the Hill, you want to try to hold on to the capture point. That's one of the main goals here, King of the Hill. But you can, of course, acquire yourself the victory just by finding some of those eliminations, which at times, if it's going to be a very 50-50 matchup between the two teams, if it's going to come down to being it very neck and neck, you'll just see some of the eliminations there at the latter stages just really shifting the balance in favor of one team or the other one. So it really comes down to, yeah, trying to hold on to point for as long as possible, but getting eliminations is almost as important, if not more, in certain scenarios.
So same goes for dancing around the pillar in the middle of the capture point, just so you can stay alive long enough and make sure that you can be an absolute nuisance in terms of retaking that capture point. The teams are joining, so let's have a look at Paradise Island between the two. One more time, back-to-back gaming versus Edge Infinity Esports. Make sure that you let us know in the chat as well which team you are going to be rooting for, because the players really need your support right now either way. And you can see the Edge Infinity Esports are going to be the first ones that go for that capture very early on. And Krasnikov also opening things up with that first strike, but very quickly Back-to-Back Gaming are coming back into this and even go for the capture now as they get the players out from that zone.
Yeah, very good capture coming in. Massive, though, in the backline. Is able to take down one, but in return, Edge Infinity, yes, they have respawn, and now they're going to be able to get themselves the recap. I'm almost certain about that one, whereas back-to-back, they're all over the place. You do get to see some of the players trying to go to the engagements. Gonzo with the G-Launcher. Very nice elimination coming through. AK is pretty much stuck there on the point, and as we do see, yes, back-to-back, they have respawn. They have 4 players to control point, and it's going to be in their favor.
Deadly was on a triple elimination there, but was, well, very abruptly finished off with the G-Launcher there. Now Mix moving forward, tries to go for the Blade Master. Unfortunately, it just simply doesn't connect. The G-Launcher does, though, and it does get rid of the armor from Back-to-Back Gaming there on extremely low health. They are going to be capturing the point, but this is very dangerous territory for them. They need to make sure that they do not overstep their boundaries. And Krasilnikov one more time with the double elimination coming through there in the nick of time. Edge Infinity Esports are going to be jumping instantly back onto the capture point, but back-to-back players are already alive, and KM is going to take care of Hale. Gonza also will take down Deadly there, and Nokia finds Massive. Back-to-back are not leaving any breathing room for Edge Infinity Esports. They want to take the lead. They want to take this match.
We do see now the respawn coming in here for Edge Infinity, but the problem is they're pushing out there one by one. Back-to-back seem to be working like a more of a cohesive unit, and by this point, yes, AK is going to be able to get the cap here for the team, but we do see, G-Launcher, it does miss, and KM, he will be able to get that one, and by this point, yes, Edge Infinity, they're back here. Hale is doing some great work here at the control point, but as we do see the players here from back-to-back, you do have Mix, and you do have Gonzo. Yes, they're going to be able to neutralize the point, but most importantly, they're also able to capture it.
All right, so 150-point lead for Back-to-Back Gaming with 2 minutes and 48 seconds on the clock. They're not out of the woods just yet. Edge Infinity could still turn this one around, and Killer Machine still staying alive somehow, and only now the damage tick goes through, and that gives Krasilnikov the double elimination there. A few extra points, and the point gap has narrowed down to only 17 now. It looks like Edge Infinity Esports have found that momentum that they need to shift this into their favor. Can Back-to-Back Gaming even come back into this?
Oh, this is looking so good right now for Edge Infinity. They're able to hold their ground here. They're entrenched here on the control point. As we do see some of the players still with the Barracudas trying to snipe down their opponents. They want to take him down here as soon as possible. Mix coming in there from the huts. He's able to take down at least a couple of these players, and most importantly, cap the point. Oh no, it's only neutralized. That's not good enough for back-to-back. They want to get the point capture here as soon as possible, but because every single player has been wiped out, they have to respawn and attempt again. And by this point, Edge Infinity, they will have some good positions here on the control point.
This might be even the final push for back-to-back gaming here, so they need to make sure they're jumping onto that capture point. As you can see, Migs is still alive, but Deadly does take him out, and again, the point was only neutralized. It was never capped in favor of back-to-back gaming. That's valuable time being lost right now, and it looks like that Edge Infinity Esports are actually going to make it into the grand finals here. They're going to get those valuable points they need to make sure that they can battle it out. It's going to be Edge Infinity Esports making their way into the grand finals and shutting back-to-back gaming down.
Wow. I did not expect that outcome. You know,
Told
look
you
at this
so.
best of 3. Yeah, you told me so. Okay, I'll take that one. I'll take the L. But by this point, I mean, even you couldn't thought it's going to be 2-0. Maybe a 2-1 victory.
I could. I told you about it in the beginning.
You, I don't know, man.
No words for a loser.
Oh, come on. I take the L like a man, okay? I admit it. I was wrong. I thought it was going to come down to the victory there for the team there. But, you know, now they're going to have to fight there for the 3rd and 4th place decider back-to-back, which, I mean, by this point, yes, they still have themselves a pretty good lead there, you know, by sitting at the 1st place.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, who knows? Maybe if in the coming week they also don't succeed, wow, that's definitely a possibility where they might even be knocked out to like something like the 2nd place, maybe even the 3rd one when you think about it.
Quickly looking at it, if Knights of Honor now fall back to that 3rd, 4th place decider match, this gives Edge Infinity a very good opportunity of throwing Lazarus down as well to that 4th spot. Oof. So, like, it's a lot of theory crafting in terms of how these points could go, but that's exactly why we are here to actually see it live happening. So, super excited to see Edge Infinity Esports making it into the grand finals for back-to-back. Food for thought, probably, in terms of, well, I mean, they've been confident and shown on in action as well that they've been able to secure their spot in the grand finals pretty much uncontested almost so far. So let's have a look at the MVPs quickly one more time from that Paradise Island map just to see who really stood out from either side. And from back-to-back gaming, that is going to be Nokia, sitting at 180 points, 10 eliminations, 8 assists, and 12 deaths. The death toll is a bit high. Yeah, the death toll is little bit too high, but whatever, you know, it's not team deathmatch, it's just going to be King of the Hill. Whereas for Edge Infinity Esports, you obviously do have AK, who was able to rack up 237 score, pretty much an exact amount of eliminations, just one up there for him with 11, 7 assists, and 8 deaths. All right, so great stuff coming out from Krasilnikov, and you can definitely see that Edge Infinity Esports have had a man-to-man talk before the game just to make sure that everyone is on the same page and everyone does understand this is extremely important for them. So let's have a look at the brackets one more time, just to quickly, guys, remind you what is happening here, just in case if anyone is tuning in now. So we just saw that first pair from back-to-back and Edge Infinity Esports, and Edge Infinity did move on into the grand final spot. Looking forward, though, Danny, we are going to have Lazarus going up against Knights of Honor for that 2nd place in the grand final. And do let us know, please, in the chat, out of the 2nd pair, who do you think is going to take it? Is it going to be Lazarus? Is it going to be Knights of Honor? I mean, it's so interesting that you do have, you know, that we obviously did have the God's Boom event in Cologne, and Lazarus, again, you know, they were able to make themselves a grand final appearance. Yep. It wasn't a victory, though. And, you know, it looks like in the LAN environment, that's where the team is able to excel. But when it comes down to online play, I mean, things haven't been looking that great there for Lazarus. It's no secret about it. And that's the thing. If you want to try to qualify for some of these, like, Pro Series events, you have to succeed in the online play. There's no two-way street about it. And the fact that Lazarus isn't able to succeed here is quite interesting. It is quite telling that some of these teams, you know, like in the open qualifiers that come in here, you might say, oh, who are these no-names? And you see some of these better teams losing to them. Wow, that is a very interesting factor when you think about it. Well, it might be just the fact that, hey, you never know, maybe Lazarus really has a good fan base that's always cheering super loud for them in the LAN events, and that's also a factor that allows you to perform better. So if you don't have like a crowd of 100 people cheering behind you, sitting at home, yeah, you're not really going to succeed in terms of moving forward, if, of course, that's the winning factor that they do have. But, so, as we already spoke, this is going to go down one more time in another best-of-3 between Lazarus and the other team, which completely flew out of my mind. Knights of Honor, apologies. It's been a lot of Southeast Asia lately.
Yeah, I bet so. Yeah, I mean, there's some new teams here, but obviously these are relatively well-known teams here in the European region.
Yeah.
And of course, coming into this matchup again, it's going to be very interesting because Knights of Honor, yes, they have made those grand final appearances. I think they've even had more grand final appearances here than say the likes of Lazarus. I think Lazarus might have made it in like the first week, and they obviously lost it to back-to-back, if I recall correctly. And right now, I do have this team, Knights of Honor, who have been playing in the grand finals, and I think they've won one grand final appearance. And I did believe it wasn't even against back-to-back; it was against, I like to say, Edge Infinity.
It was
Esports?
Edge Infinity.
Yeah,
Esports,
it was against Edge Infinity. So right now, there's a possibility that we might even see another rematch of the likes of back-to-back going up against Knights of Honor. That should be very interesting. But again, like Lazarus, we saw what they were able to make in LAN play. We saw what they were able to make in the Lanxess arena. So again, like they're able to play with some of the best out there, like Impact Gaming right now. So I am expecting a Lazarus victory, to be honest. Yes, their online play is shoddy, but they can definitely make it work.
Well, I think for Lazarus as well, they definitely understand that it's about time that they need to start having back-to-back victories in online events as well, in terms of in these Summer Cup series or just pretty much any other cup. But just in general, it's a matter of consistency, and that consistency gives you confidence, and the confidence gives you more confidence in those LAN events. And who knows, maybe chaining up these victories online might be finally the upper hand that they need to defeat Impact Gaming in one of the bigger events.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to see about that, I guess. Before we actually head on over to the semi itself, I mean, there seems to be like we have some downtime, folks. I guess we could actually even talk about, the Gaza Boom event itself that did happen in Cologne. Yeah. Of course, for those who haven't watched it, I don't know what you're doing with your life. If you're a fan of Guns of Boom and you're not watching Guns of Boom event in Cologne, I don't know, man. Got to think about your priorities. But yeah, that was a fantastic event. We obviously did see Impact Gaming now securing themselves a third grand final spot and, of course, a third title to their name, which is very exciting.
Well, exciting as well, but you just probably want to talk about the Cologne event because you actually went there, right?
I was in the Cologne, not going to lie. It was a nice arena. It was some nice games being played out there. Of course, the best of 9 series, it did come down to, I'd like to say, I mean, it wasn't that dominant there for Impact Gaming. Yeah. Lazarus really came out there to play. But at the end of it all, yes, it was an Impact Gaming 5-3 victory. Not too shabby. And of course, they claimed themselves the third title.
Yeah, but name any other esport that has a grand final of best of 9.
That is hard to name.
I think there's,
I'm not going to lie. That is hard to name.
I think there's best of 7s in StarCraft too, but that's probably the only thing I can think of. Like I don't think there's anything that comes close to Guns of Boom even. So yeah, that is a detail with the series, and obviously as well, like having lengthy series in the finals, it takes a huge toll on you, just in terms of, even especially when it goes so close as it was in Cologne. Obviously every next map that you are playing is one less map that you can make errors on, right?
Absolutely.
So it's very punishing on your psychology, just in terms of having the strength within you after a lost map to come back again and again and again and try and seeing how you succeed and then fail at the end. That's also, of course, slightly painful. But all of those small things bring a lot of experience, and that's exactly well, I can definitely tell already by the gameplay that we've seen, that's the biggest difference that we have between these two regions, that being Europe and Southeast Asia, that we watched so far. So let's have a look on the second pair today on Military Warehouse between the two other titans of Europe, that is Lazarus and Knights of Honor. And the first strikes are going to be made here already, and you can see that it was Johnny making that first strike. John Wick able to trade instantly, and we are still neck and neck with the points right now, as Lazarus has a slight upper hand. They are moving forward here, and Knights of Honor need to be a bit careful. They might be surprised by some of these corners, and Romeo tries to do exactly that and is very successful at doing so. Instantly rotates so he can trade with his teammate, and even the two of them can take down Notorious.
Oh, this is looking pretty good right now for Lazarus. Yes, they're trying to go for some of these eliminations here, but there's going to be Johnny himself getting the one with the avalanche. And by this point, Knights of Honor, yes, they don't have themselves the lead right now. It is, in fact, Lazarus in that position. And they want to find some of these eliminations there. Lord Mono able to get himself a trade. And there we go. Notorious with the Blade Master. Extra points here for Knights of Honor. And engagement going out there. Again, it's a double elimination working out for him. And, of course, the Incinerator will get the better of him. Right now, Knights of Honor going to be fighting for some of that mat presence here. Lord Mono does go down in that position. He's walking out there one by one. Whereas Romeo, yes, there we go. The avalanche kicks in. And that's going to be another trade working out here. So a lot of trades going on. But at the end of it all, it is Knights of Honor with a 30-point lead.
Yeah, Knights of Honor currently have a solid lead, but not big enough to feel comfortable with playing, especially the likes of Lazarus. The G-Launcher connects from Notorious there onto Excellency, and it looks like that Lazarus are going to try to group up here. John Wick with an excellent flank through middle is going to be able to take him down there. T-Mac also gets a double elimination of his own, so still keeping Knights of Honor 40 points in front of Lazarus.
Oh, there's going to be some exchanges going on right now. Blade Masters as well kicking in. And by this point, as we do see, it is going to be Divine King with a bit of a trade there, but it's going to be T-Mac to come out on top. And at this point, Knights of Honor, yes, there we go. They got themselves some great positions right now. They have the crossfire set up. Let's see if that's going to be enough, though. Look, you can see at this point that Lazarus, they're afraid. They know that if they're going to pop on out, there's going to be a crossfire set up, and now they're able to find the eliminations. This is great. Notorious does pick up one, but in return, there's Romeo with the Avalanche. And yes, Knights of Honor, they still have themselves the lead, but Lazarus, they're fighting back. Blade Master trades going on the map, but for now, Lord Mono does go down to that position. For Knights of Honor, it's 100 more points until they secure the victory.
Yeah, so it is a 60-point lead roughly here for Knights of Honor, and they're going to be playing slightly more cautiously, not saying that about Notorious. Look, he's made it to the back lines, and Romeo's in extreme danger. He's going to fall as the Notorious just continuously on rotation, wreaking havoc here with the perfect aim, as well as Excellency only now is able to stop them. But will Lazarus have enough time to come back into this? Just a few more eliminations before Knights of Honor secure this first match. The G-Launcher connects on to Johnny, and Lord Mano comes up huge for Lazarus right now. Excellency also gets an elimination onto Notorious, and Lord Mano even gets another one. They're just simply decimating Knights of Honor right now, and they desperately need to stay together so they can at least trade somehow. They are losing their lead, and 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock. Knights of Honor will close it out.
Yep, they secured themselves the victory here in the first map. It was, again, another close affair, all things considering, but it is going to be a victory here. Of course, you already get to see a preview here of the MVPs, but it's going to be Johnny here with 207 score. Not too shabby. That's basically yourself getting almost half as the points as you possibly can get in a TDM game mode.
And I feel like this map on Military Warehouse, this matchup was a bit more hectic from either side. Like, there was a lot of backline flanks happening. I really like the Romeo play from the corner there. That was like essentially already a setup. He was expecting for that player to come through any second. That's exactly what happened there. So Romeo finding those small opportunities, especially in the team deathmatch map like Military Warehouse, is very important for you to at least obtain some sort of point lead that you can play back off of that. So let's have a look at the MVPs though and really see who was the other person in that case who stood out. So you can see from Lazarus, it was Romeo, 135 points, 8 eliminations, 6 assists, and 7 deaths.
And of course, we did mention Johnny earlier here, 207 scored, 13 eliminations, 3 assists. Not too shabby, all things considering. This is
you said it like 13 eliminations was just casual.
Yeah, casual stuff here in the Europe scene. Everything's looking fun and dandy. And of course, this being Team Deathmatch, it's very nice to have one of your players step up massively like that. You know, we can always have there are different ways to play about it. You can always have, you know, what are your players like called the ace, who is going to be going out there, getting all the eliminations, racking up the perfect aims, getting streaks, which is very important. By getting streaks, those perfect aims, Blade Masters, you name it, that's extra points in your pocket. And in Team Deathmatch, points count a lot. You don't really get to see too often a Team Deathmatch game lasting, in fact, all 5 minutes. Primarily, it's just, you know, someone's going to be getting themselves some great momentum shift, some great eliminations being picked up, and suddenly they've got themselves a massive lead in the matchup.
All right, well, we are going to be heading into Paradise Island in a moment, and between these two, honestly, Danny, if I favor some sort of like an underdog usually, now I don't even know who to root for, because looking back at this Military Warehouse match, it's really hard to predict how things are going to go on Paradise Island, but one thing I know for sure, there is not going to be any lack of flanks happening here on Paradise Island, and it is very important for Knights of Honor right now to move forward into the grand finals and to dethrone Lazarus from their position. You can see that The players are going to be moving closer to the capture point, slightly jiggling around that pillar there. The capture goes in favor of Knights of Iron, but the first strike is going to be made by Lord Mano there. Romeo also able to follow up, and Dobar just simply cannot survive that long. T-Mac now, a bit of a pincer movement happening as Romeo was just behind him, and the G-Launcher connects onto Romeo. Knights of Honor instantly go for the recap there. Lord Mano is relatively close, is going to start laying down some fire there. Notorious and Dobar both find Blade Masters. In the meantime, Romeo suddenly finds almost himself alone as John Wick now comes in with the flank, but he simply cannot survive this engagement, and a triple elimination from Notorious with the Blade Master on top there. Excellent work from Knights of Honor.
Oh, the G-Launcher connect as well. That's going to be now Knights of Honor going for the capture here, but in fact, Dober's going to be going down. John Wick, fine positioning from him, but as we do so, that's going to be, the flashbang coming in. John Wick can't see a damn thing. Yes, he goes down that position. Excellency coming in up close with the Avalanche. Yes, he picks up the elimination, but the problem is, the G-Launcher, yes, it does connect, but it doesn't get the elimination, though. Now we do see Dober with the cap. It will be captured here by Knights of Honor. Lazarus, they're losing themselves quite a bit of points. I mean, it's basically Knights of Honor with almost a 200-point lead.
Yeah, Lazarus are slightly forced right now to throw themselves onto the capture point, meaning it's easier for Knights of Honor to predict where their opponents are going to be coming from, but it doesn't even matter. The eliminations go in favor of Lazarus. They get the capture point as well, and John Wick instantly moving forward there to cut off any sort of backup that might be happening from the side of Knights of Honor here. Lord Mano, in the meantime, will take down Notorious. Moving forward here, Dobar somehow survives that engagement. I feel like Lord Mano missed a shot for a moment there. Excellency will find T-Mac, and Notorious now coming back into this. John Wick!
No!
Oh, the unfortunate events that do take over John Wick there, exploding from the G-Launcher himself. Romeo now still able to hold on to the capture point for Lazarus, and they have narrowed down the point gap, even overtaking the lead from Knights of Honor.
Oh, this is such an interesting situation right now. Yes, the Knights of Honor players, they finally responded here, but Notorious, he's able to find two. Now there's only John Wick to contest with. They take him down, and the control point is going to be going for them. As for Lazarus, yes, now they themselves can finally respawn, but we will be seeing some of those engagements taking place here. Notorious holding a very tight angle. Yes, he goes down, but Dober with a refrag. This is good stuff. Dober and T-Mac still picking up some of these eliminations there. T-Mac doing the damage with the sniper rifle, but it will be recapped here. He's trying to stop the cap. T-Mac, yes, he gets the elimination here. And as we do see, the point is becoming redder and redder, and it will be going in favor here of Knights of Honor.
Lord Mano is going to go down to T-Mac as well here, so almost a 100-point lead now for Knights of Honor. John Wick has been spotted by T-Mac. He's trying to get the shots in as the players are moving closer to them. They really don't want to allow for Lazarus to even get closer to this capture point. John Wick is going to go down to Johnny as well here, as Notorious still staying very close, making sure that he can call the shots early on as to how the opponents are moving around the map here, and it's very important for them to cut off Lazarus every single possible way they can. Any means is good right now, and Lord Mano again will find himself in a bit of a pickle as he's trying to survive on this capture point, but is going to fall to T-Mac.
Oh, this is looking so good right now for Knights of Honor. 80 more points and they will secure the victory. By this point, the control point doesn't even matter. All you have to do right now is get the eliminations. That's going to be enough. A dancing around the pillar. That's going to be Lord Mano to take down Notorious. Not bad. That's pretty great. You do get to see those very often. No, not so often if I'm being honest. But by this point, yeah, it is going to come down to Knights of Honor picking up one more elimination to secure themselves the victory. Heck, it might even not be the elimination. It might just be the point capture, and it is. Knights of Honor secure themselves the victory here in another stellar 2-0 fashion.
I mean, these best of threes really feel like just one map in terms of how intense these games are and how quickly the tides change during the match. And as we already said, Paradise Island, yeah, it does get a bit hectic at times, especially with the players dancing around the pillars. And I really like the play from Knights of Honor, where as soon as they captured the point, they at least have one player posted up front just to make sure that they can get that early information and have the rotation of the players to stop the flank happening, to stop Lazarus to even get to that capture point. And you saw there countless times as well. It was a lot of the times it was John Wick who found himself just alone on the capture point, desperately trying to make the best out of it, but it was just simply too many Knights of Honor players around him.
And I mean, that was a pretty good way they were able to approach, Paradise Island. Again, it was early presence there coming out from the likes of Knights of Honor. And you know, from that point onward, the momentum was just going their favor. Lazarus had such a difficult time to get back into the game. But of course, let's take a look at the MVPs.
All right, so speaking of the most valuable players in this second map from Lazarus, it was yet again Romeo with 286 points, 14 eliminations, 8 assists, and only 10 deaths.
As for Knights of Honor, of course, Notorious. 221 score, 14 eliminations, 7 assists, 10 deaths. I mean, all things considering, the fact that Lazarus still ended up losing that one and they did have the best player on their side, that is a telling sign of the individual skill of a team like Lazarus.
Well, it's skill, communication,
Absolutely,
strategy. Obviously, all those things come together, but I was definitely not expecting this to be a 2-0. I really thought it is going to be a lot closer. Now, this does put us in a slightly interesting situation because obviously you are going to have a super interesting grand final, first of all. Second of all, the standings might change in a very interesting direction. So a bit of a plot twist, and also sets up us for a very interesting next week.
Yeah, of course, by this point we have back-to-back and Lazarus fighting for the 3rd and 4th place. I mean, that is quite ridiculous when you think about it. Lazarus just a week prior just battling things out in the Lanxess Arena, and now they're here fighting for a 3rd and 4th place finish. I mean, that's not a great track record here for Lazarus. They continue on by having a pretty horrible track record here in online play. But of course, again, 3rd and 4th place decider, that's the game we're going to be looking at soon enough here, folks. It's going to really come down to also still securing that 3rd place finish. That's extra points. Not a lot, but extra points could still make a difference here in the long run.
Right, well, this is going to be a best of 5, and we are going to kick things off with Wild West Saloon. So between these two and that 3rd, 4th place decider, do you really think that there is some sort of like a clear upper hand between the two, or you think it's going to be a complete wild card of a best of 5?
Honestly, again, I'm going to go for a back-to-back victory here. I'm not sure if it's going to be 3-0. That earlier loss in the semifinals kind of shook me, and I think it also shook the players. Like, how on earth did that happen? Not even a single map working out there for back-to-back. So I'm definitely expecting them to bounce back in this best of 5. But I think there is a world in which Lazarus are able to pick up maybe a map, maybe even 2. Who knows? Maybe even make it as close a fair as possible to still come out on top with the 3rd place finish.
All right, well, if there's anything we learned from King of the Hill scenarios and in terms of predictions, it's really hard to say. So make sure that you stay close for the best of 5 for the 3rd, 4th place decider match. And what I'm continuously just thinking about is the standings. Like, it's hard to understand at the moment how this will affect not only the point system itself, right, and how things will set up for the next following week. You never really know how things are going to go down during the brackets in the next week as well, right? As you already mentioned, some underdog might just take one out from the big guys, and still all your predictions are just going to be out the window.
Yeah, that's the scariest thing right now for some of the top dogs here, because you might think, right, we basically secured ourselves tickets for the next Pro Series events. But the thing is, though, if you're not going to succeed in this week, which basically has just happened back-to-back at Lazarus, just sitting there at the 3rd and 4th place deciders, if you're not going to succeed in the last week as well, then boy, this could really shake things up here in the brackets. And who knows, maybe a team like Edge Infinity Esports might just be able to make themselves that 2nd place finish. That is still a possibility.
You wanted to say that they will edge themselves in? Oh, edge it out. Okay, right. Well, let's have a quick look at the brackets one more time, just in case if anyone is tuning in now, what really happened there. So we did have that first match where Back-to-Back Gaming went up against Edge Infinity Esports, and Edge Infinity Esports actually had the upper hand in that one, closing out a quick 2-0 and securing their position in the grand finals.
And of course, here, 3rd place decider, Lazarus back-to-back. This is going to be the game we're going to be looking at right now.
Oh, well, we have still the second pair there where Lazarus just fought with Knights of Honor, and Knights of Honor did manage to secure themselves in the grand finals. And then, yes, Danny, we do get to that 3rd place decider match.
Yeah, and obviously, this is going to be a very interesting affair here. Obviously, there's not going to be too big of a point difference, but I think if you're a team like Lazarus, you still want to show that you got yourself some gas to attack. I mean, you don't want to go out here in a 3-0 affair. I mean, that would be, like, very dissatisfying. You come out here to the semis, you lose that one 2-0, and if you go out to the third and fourth place decider and lose that one 3-0 as well, I mean, that is not a great track record from a team that just a week ago was playing in the Lanxess Arena.
All right, so this is the best time for all of you supporters there to let us know in the chat and to let to know to the teams as well, that is, who are you rooting for the most? I really feel like these players need your energy right now, especially Lazarus, as you already mentioned. They must be feeling slightly upset about all of this that's been happening right now, and they will be thinking, I hope for some sort of like a cunning plan they could come up with, like some complete different tactic that they could throw in. So this is going to be a best of 5 in Wild West Saloon, King of the Hill for the 3rd, 4th place decider match, and a lot is riding for either side here in this match. Everyone wins the victory, and the first strikes are being made by Nokia there, but you can see Excellence. He comes back with a double elimination of himself, and John Wick on the capture point did manage to take down Migs, but unfortunately fell short to KM.
Now it's going to come down to this engagement here. Nokia is able to take down one. Lord Mono does succeed, and excellent as well. But at this point, Lord Mono, another double elimination coming through. Migs G-Launcher connects, but it's still going to be Lazarus capping the control point. Migs trying to get something done here, maybe even going for the big flank. That's a possibility, but Lord Mono, he's got the read, but he's not going to be aware of it just yet. Back to back, they're making the push happen here. It is going to be Gonzo holding things down, but he goes down. Romeo going to recapture the control point, and back to back, all of the players wiped out. They have to go for the push yet again.
Back-to-back currently on the back foot behind Lazarus. They are currently in the lead with 140 points, and they've secured their position onto the balcony there as well. Lord Mado battling it out with Gonza here. It's very important for Lord Mado to stay alive for as long as possible, but Gonza will get the best of him. The point goes in favor of back-to-back as well here. Migs making his way forward there. Didn't really expect for John Wick to be so close, but John Wick will be taken down very quickly by that G-Launcher from Nokia there. Excellency together with Lord Mano will fall as well, as now Romeo on the capture point, desperately trying to stay alive, and back-to-back gaming still secure the capture point.
That's going to be back-to-back, trying to hold things down. Oh, hello there, Lord Mono. Comes in there from up and above. Is only able to take down one. Nokia replies as well. This is looking good right now for back-to-back. All of the players are now walking out there one by one. They're getting absolutely wrecked right now. And back-to-back are able to hold their ground.
160-point lead right now with still 3 minutes on the clock. KM trying to land these shots, but they simply just don't connect. In the meantime, Gonza does the job for KM with up close with that shotgun, gets a double elimination, and I really feel like it's bad news for John Wick for staying there as he falls down, and KM on elimination streak. Lord Mano will put an end to it, but wasn't expecting for two players to be so close behind the corner, and you really see these corner tactics are doing an excellent job for back-to-back in terms of keeping Lazarus back for as long as possible from the capture point, even though they do manage to secure a clean wipe.
Yeah, Lazarus were able to take down every single player here from back-to-back. That's going to allow them to secure themselves some more extra points. But as we do see Lazarus, they're not slowing down. They're going to play this one a bit more aggressively, hold some of those aggressive positions here. But of course, they've ran out of HP. They don't have any HP to work with, and now the players, they have to respond. Looks like the control point is going to be going in favor here of back-to-back. They're able to hold things down, but of course, you have Lord Mano and Romeo. They're very close by the control point, hoping to find some of these eliminations here. Lord Mano does go down. And at this point, back-to-back, they're very close to securing the victory here.
Excellency needs to stay alive here for as long as possible to wait for the backup to arrive, but it might just be too late. Back-to-back just need a few more points before they can secure the victory here. Lord Mano does find an opening. Romeo able to follow up. Gonza now will get rid of Romeo, but is he aware of the fact that Lord Mano is so close? I don't think so, as he's going to fall. And now Nokia, the only person able to get a retaliation onto John Wick. Lazarus need to hold on to this point, as back-to-back just need one more elimination to secure the first map here, and they're going after Excellency, and it is going to be back-to-back securing Wild West Saloon.
They get it done. It was a pretty close affair there, at the early start of the game, but at the end of it all, yes, it's going to come down to the victory here for back-to-back. Again, we do get to see that one of the players there from Lazarus was again the MVP. It was Excellency, topping the scoreboard, looking very solid, but Shame is, even though he looked great, his team just wasn't able to get things going.
All right, well, they're probably looking forward on to the next map and thinking about what could they potentially do against back-to-back gaming, and the map is going to be Skyscrapers.
Yep.
So as we've spoken so many times with Danny about this, Skyscrapers, a notoriously punishing map in terms of how it could be played, especially when every single point matters. But before that, let's have a look at the MVPs.
And regardless from the MVP side, we did have a glimpse of one of the Lazarus players. That is, of course, Excellency. 248 score, 12 eliminations, 9 assists, casual day in the office.
Okay, well, on this side of back-to-back, we do have Migs with a 241 point, 11 eliminations, 9 assists, and 9 deaths, 1 less than Lazarus there. Excellency, that is. And yeah, that's really essentially what matters. Staying alive for as long as possible. Just make sure that your team can arrive as a backup. And that, coming back into the talk about Skyscrapers, is going to be very important for either side, because the map can be played suddenly very passively if you are in the lead, forcing your opponent to walk into what potentially could be a trap, so your opponent essentially doesn't even know at times what is the thing that they are approaching, because if you don't see any enemies, that's obviously a very worrying news for you, and you really don't know is there a sniper posted up somewhere? Are they just standing out with G-launchers and just expecting for 3 players to run around the corner and just be completely decimated? We don't know, but we'll find out as we are jumping into the second map of this best of 5 Skyscrapers Team Deathmatch. And let's see if back-to-back gaming can continue their winning streak here, or will it be Lazarus taking a map back?
Right now, for a lot of teams, it has been very important to actually try and acquire some of that lobby presence, but is in fact going to be some engagements going on here in middle. For now, back-to-back are able to find the eliminations. They've got themselves the lead, whereas Lazarus, finally they respond. Romeo and Excellence picking up 2. Romeo responds, but there's Killing Machine with elimination of his own. Back-to-back still looking quite solid here, but the players, they need the backup here. Killing Machine trying to battle it out here with the player, but as we do see, it is going to be, yes, eliminations for back-to-back. Migs, Nokia, all the players are able to step up.
Back-to-back in the lead with 40 points right now, 4 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock. Nokia peeks down that pathway, doesn't see anyone, but we'll find Lord Mano here as he moves forward. Spox Excellency as well, and with the help of Gonza, will take him down. Romeo will fall as well, and John Wick finds himself alone against the world again before the teammates respawn. Killing Machine in the meantime throws down a defensive grenade just to make sure nobody's following up, and you can see the players scoped in as well. They want to get that early tag in just to make sure that the other teammate can run in and finish the player off with the shotgun. Excellently does almost exactly that as he will find Killing Machine. The G-Launcher comes out from Migs. It does connect, but it doesn't really do that amount of damage that he was expecting there. Nokia gets a double elimination here and even manages to stay alive. Excellent news for him, and Lord Mano needs to be careful being low on health.
Yeah, some of the players have been softened up here from the Lazarus side, and same goes for back-to-back. They're going for the lobby push. That's a very nice crossfire setup. John Wick is able to take down 2. There's a G-Launcher coming in, but it's ineffective to say the least. While his Nokia is being consumed by the flames, he will have the backup of his own teammates. They will respond, and they will have full HP to work with.
Lazarus have managed to even the scoreline right now with 3 minutes on the clock. This next push can be crucial for either side, and it looks like back-to-back are going to be coming out on top in this engagement, securing another 38 points in their pockets. Excellently now looking to see if he can gather some information before actually committing to a fight here. Gonza will find Romeo. The double G-Launcher comes out from Nokia as he instantly falls back, and he has information about Lord Mano being in the back lines, and he absolutely needs to eliminate him. Elimination streak for Nokia, and Killing Machine here just making sure he stays alive long enough. But John Wick returns the favor. Lazarus really don't want to give up here, and back-to-back are trying their best to stay in the lead.
Gonna try to stay in the lead here. That's gonna help, and Gonza picking up that one, but there is John Wick, of course. And Meg's gonna be going down that position. Lazarus, yes, they finally have reached the 400-point mark, but it's back-to-back. We're gonna try to play this one safe. They're not really going for the lobby push as of yet. They know Lazarus are the ones that have to play this one aggressively. Ooh, John Wick might just have to be a bit more careful with that Papa Heal and stay safe, but it's going to be Gonza to take them both. And that's going to be a victory for back-to-back, leading the series 2-0.
Okay, so it's all gonna come down to military warehouse again, Danny. Is this going to be a week of only clean sweeps? We'll find out in a brief moment. But speaking about what happened on Skyscrapers, first of all, great utilization of G-launchers, I must say. Was it just the perfect timing? I think not. I think it was all planned. And I really like the fact that, you know, John Wick is just standing there seeing his team die off the back of a double G-launcher. He goes like, you know what, I can do it as well. It's just, it's not that big of a deal,
Not
really.
that big of a deal.
Right? So he just whips the thing out and makes sure he gets a juicy double there. So good job from John Wick. And he goes to show as well, like, staying the last man alive a lot of the times gives you a bigger insight as to how you should approach the next situation, just because you have a brief moment of seeing how the opponents are laying themselves out. But before that, though, let's have a look who were the MVPs of Skyscrapers.
Of course, I think one of the MVPs we were able to witness there was, in fact, Lazarus' John Wick, sitting at 176 score, 8 eliminations, 5 assists. And, of course, we also do have the back-to-back player, Gonza, 175 score, 11 eliminations, and 4 assists. So all things considering, you know, the players, they were still kind of neck and neck when you think about it, but at the same time, we obviously did have those eliminations coming through, and now it is going to be Military Warehouse, the third map here of the best of 5, and it figures this could actually be the one map that will decide everything.
Lazarus, it's make it or break it point for yourselves. Brace yourselves, because Back-to-Back Gaming are back at it again on Military Warehouse, and they really want to show that that first semi was just a fluke. They are the absolute kings here, and you can see them sticking together as well, sneakily trying to get those few shots from different players, and the Mix is going to be the one who makes the first strike, instantly moving forward here. Will spot excellently. What a shot from him. The perfect aim comes through. Romeo gets a double elimination here as well. Nokia a corner right now. Can't even fall back. He's going to fall to Romeo and Lazarus, overtaking the lead right now by 30 points.
As I do see Lord Mano, he's not slowing down. He's going for the push right now. He's going to try to find that elimination, but it's going to be responsive from back to back. Yes, they tried to diminish the scoreline difference, and it's looking quite fine. Excellency, pulls out the G-Launcher, but he's not quick enough. That is going to be, and it should be elimination there for Gonza. No, it is John Wick to take down 2. Important eliminations right now for Lazarus, whereas Mix, there's the player coming in the backlines. That's Romeo, but a response there from back to back.
Okay, Killing Machine is going to fall to Excellency there, and really for back-to-back right now, they just need to respawn together, regroup, and just reset. And Gonza finds the opening with the G-Launcher onto John Wick there. You can see that stopped Lord Mano in his tracks. He really doesn't want to move forward, being with one man down. Romeo now trying to trade with Killing Machine, and he's going to come out on top here. Mix as well, snuck behind a corner there, waiting for some unsuspecting players to jump in. He makes the move now, goes forward, and will fall to Excellency. Nokia now able to trade with Lord Mano. Another G-Launcher comes out, and it does connect. Back-to-Back Gaming able to close the point gap and overtake the lead again, but a quick double elimination from Romeo here gives the upper hand to Lazarus. 3 minutes on the clock, and we are going neck and neck in this best of 5, and what could be the last map today.
Oh no, Gonzo, he burns there, crisp there. Didn't even pop a heal at that point, as we do see Mix trying to find some of these eliminations here. Both the players there at the latter stages there. Lord Mano has picked up the sniper rifle. Mix gonna get there up close, but the problem is it is now battle of the sniper rifles, and as we do see back to back are actually winning it. KM right now is sitting at an elimination streak.
Combo breaker coming through for Excellency, but Nokia very instantly able to trade. Gonza helps out Nokia's by killing off Romeo in that engagement. Still 60-point lead for Back-to-Back Gaming right now. 2.5 minutes on the clock. Mix might just fall here, and he does. The elimination comes through. G-Launcher from KM right now, so still Back-to-Back are holding on to the lead, and you can see they're playing a bit more careful, but on the backside there, Romeo finds another elimination, and it looks like Back-to-Back Gaming are gonna run away with the victory here. They might just secure that 3rd place.
Oh, something tells me it's happening, but before we are certain, we do see the eliminations here for Lazarus. Mix right now holding things down. He will be getting himself the elimination, but by this point, back to back, they have to play this one safe. They don't even have to commit to some of these gunfights. They can play it safe. They can even go for a bit of a camping, if you will, but as we do see, those are opportunities here for Lazarus. They're finding the eliminations, and in fact, at the end of it all, it is going to be a back-to-back victory. 3-0. Very, very well done there by back-to-back.
Back-to-back, definitely showing that this is the reason why they had so many victories here in this summer split. And I mean, whilst yes, today Edge did have the upper hand over them in terms of pushing them down to that third, fourth place decider match, still back-to-back gaming were able to put up a very nice performance and a 3-0 fashion, securing the victory over Lazarus. I mean, that's something that you can feel proud of time and time and time again, no matter how many times it does happen, as long as you can defeat one of the Titans here, one of the teams that have attended so many huge events. Man, I mean, I would feel great.
Who wouldn't feel great? I'm almost certain our MVPs also feel great because we are going to be taking a look at the MVPs of the previous map, which was obviously Military Warehouse. And we do have Romeo here for Lazarus. That's going to be 155 score, 10 eliminations, 5 assists, and 8 deaths.
Yeah, and for the side of back-to-back Killing Machine with 13 eliminations, 3 assists, and only 7 deaths there as well. So 13 eliminations in a team deathmatch and 200 points, man, that's something to feel good about. And just in general, the way how Killing Machine works with his snipers, it's something else. He finds those opportunities, and even like at even engagement, somehow has the upper hand. I don't know if it's like a last-second strafe or something particular that I really haven't paid that much attention to just yet, but I feel like he has a bit of a trump card in his pocket hiding somewhere there and just knows the right time when to take it out and to surprise his opponents, of course, granting the points needed to have the upper hand.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the brackets because we obviously did have our games, 2 semifinals, and of course the third and fourth place decider, which actually it looks like it all happened very quickly and for good reason. In the semifinals, we did have Edge Infinity Esports 2-0ing back-to-back, and on the other side of the bracket, we did have Knights of Honor 2-0ing Lazarus.
Okay, so on that third, fourth place decider, back-to-back did secure that valuable third position, pushing Lazarus down to that fourth this week, meaning that grand final time is coming up with Edge Infinity Esports that they are going to meet with Knights of Honor, and both of these teams, I mean, it's super important for everyone essentially in this week to get the points that they need to contest that second, first place. Even if you can't get to the first place, it doesn't matter. At least as long as you can still battle it out points-wise with that second position, you are in the game. You are able to get to that big event.
And of course, folks, before we head on over to our grand final, we will have a very quick break. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned shortly. Welcome back, everyone. Of course, it is grand final time here. Hope you were able to get yourself a snack, a beverage, and hope you were able to, maybe even play yourself a Guns of Boom match. Meanwhile, there was plenty of time, trying to rack up some of those points in the newer leagues. And of course, name's Sir Danny. Alongside me, I do have Beneficus. And yes, as I mentioned earlier, it is grand final time.
That juicy, juicy match is coming ever so closer. And one more time, I will stress this, I can't really stress this enough in terms of getting those valuable points and making sure that you can contest that second place in the standings. That is what it's all about right now, just to make sure that you can grab yourself a spot for the next huge event. But before that, for anyone tuning in just now, let's have another quick look onto the brackets and see how we got to this position. So the first match of the day was played between Back-to-Back Gaming and Edge Infinity Esports, and Edge Infinity did manage to come out victorious in that one, securing themselves in the grand finals.
And of course, Lazarus versus Knights of Honor. Again, it was a 2-0 affair this time around. It was Knights of Honor to come out victorious. And of course, because Lazarus lost their game, because Back-to-Back lost their game, they had to go out and play it out in the third place decider, in which Back-to-Back, yeah, they got themselves a victory, a pretty convincing one, 3-0.
3-0, showing that they are still in the game here. But speaking about being in a game, it's time for grand finals. Edge Infinity Esports are going to go up against Knights of Honor, and the first map that we're going to see, you guessed it right, it is going to be Wild West Saloon. Between these two, in Wild West Saloon, it is going to be another hectic time here in this Guns of Boom. Week number 5 in summer, Danny. I mean, time flies so extremely fast, and there's only one more week left at that as well. So literally, this is, as I already said, make it or break it point. And we'll obviously afterwards, once the grand finals close out, we'll have a look at the standings and see how things have changed around.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, these next matches are going to be super important for the squads, especially those who are still fighting for the top 4 or are in the top 4. They're going to need to acquire them victories, to be honest. You want to get yourself a spot there for the next Pro Series event? Well, it's not going to be easy, but it's definitely doable. Like, at this point, by having yourself a victory here in the Grand Final, 100 points. That is a lot of points here in Europe. All things considering, you have to make yourself a top 2 finish, which is definitely possible for some of these teams, especially right now, for a squad like Edge Infinity Esports.
Yeah, especially in the next week, as we already spoke before, if some sort of wild chain of events happens and one of these teams doesn't make it through the brackets into semis, it's going to be devastating for them, because at that, they might lose any opportunity of securing that spot in the next big event. The teams are getting ready, though, as we speak, and the King of the Hill is the name of the game for that first map, meaning that you need to capture that point. You need to make sure that somehow you still hold on to it whilst in the process, not allowing for your opponents to meet. And so let us begin. Grand finals time, map number 1, Wild West Saloon, King of the Hill, and let's really see who is the king here. Grand finals, first strikes being made, and you can see that the Knights of Honor are going to be the ones getting those first points in their pockets as Nuchorius finds a Blade Master and T-Mac opening things up, but Hale very quickly able to get a double elimination himself here as well. T-Mac now moving together with Dobar. Dobar will fall. T-Mac still stays alive, does get rid of Massive, but Massive able to get one from the grave.
This is very important right now for Team Edge Infinity Esports. They want to try to secure themselves the point as quickly as possible. Dober definitely tries to put a spanner in the works there, but Edge Infinity Esports, yes, they've got themselves the cap. However, it is going to be problematic to hold this one down. Notorious, Johnny is here. Massive trying to get the eliminations here. Look at the explosions here. It's massive damage being dealt. But of course, it is going to be somewhat of a small victory here for Edge Infinity Esports. Yes, they're able to hold their ground, but for how long? Because T-Mac is here. He's dealing the pain, and of course, that's a cap right now for Knights of Honor.
Johnny coming in with the flank through the saloon. There might just overrun Krasilnikov. He still manages to stay alive as Johnny will find Deadly there. Hale now on the right-hand side will help in terms of taking out Dobar. Johnny is in danger as well. The perfect aim comes through, and they're jumping onto the capture point, not allowing Knights of Honor to hold on to it. Dobar now needs to go huge, but can't simply do it. The firepower is overwhelming as Johnny will fall as well, and the point goes in favor of Edge Infinity Esports. They are going to be closing out that point gap. Deadly, though, will fall. Didn't expect for so many players to be there. The G-Launcher doesn't connect, but Notorious runs away with a double elimination.
That is very good right now for Edge Infinity Esports. The fact that they're able to find those eliminations there, but Krasilnikov, yeah, is in a pretty fine position. He's able to help out his buddies, but now the most important thing for Edge is trying to capture the control point. As we do see, it's possible. They've got it done. And Knights of Honor, of course, the players will be able to respond. We do have Johnny in a very good position here. Being on the balcony allows him to find some of these eliminations here. And he will be taking down Krasilnikov. He's jumping down, hoping to find the eliminations here in Deadly, but he won't succeed. Who is succeeding, though? T-Mac getting the elimination there with the Avalanche, and now with the Barracuda. The control point, yes, it's going in favor here of Knights of Honor, but the problem is Edge Infinity Esports. All the players have respawned, and as we do see, that's going to be now a triple elimination. 4 at once there for AK Krasilnikov. He's getting things done. He's putting his team on his back and getting things done.
Edge Infinity Esports are looking to close out that first map in their favor. Massive now expecting a flank, and he's right. The grenade nearly misses, still connects and deals plenty of damage. Doesn't really get any eliminations right now as Knights of Honor jumping onto the capture point instantly. Hale puts down a grenade but doesn't really connect with anyone. Double elimination comes through for Johnny there, and very quickly Notorious moving forward as well together with T-Mac, able to find these eliminations, holding on to the capture point. They need to close down this point gap that they have currently. 1 minute and 50 seconds on the clock. 70 points is still in favor of Edge Infinity Esports as Krasilnikov finds yet another elimination.
Oh, this is looking so good right now for Edge Infinity Esports. They have now captured the objective. It's going to have to come down to the hold, and it's looking pretty good for them. But as they say so, there's Dobar with 1. There's going to be Hale to take down 2. A double elimination there. Now he's got to jump down and get even more eliminations. And there we go. It is going to be Edge Infinity with the very first map victory.
Super interesting stuff coming out from Edge Infinity Esports. One thing that I noticed and really stood out for me was AK Krasilnikov. Him being on that far right-hand side corner there, expecting some sort of flank happening from Knights of Honor. They actually didn't even use that route for about 2 attempts of recapturing the point, meaning that Krasilnikov was able to dish out consistent damage without being affected. And that is the reason why Knights of Honor had such trouble around that 500-point mark in terms of getting back into the game, right? Because you obviously don't even pay attention to the fact that he's there, and only afterwards they were able to deal with them, and that gave the opportunity to Knights of Honor to come back closer, closing down that point gap.
And of course, let's take a look at the MVPs we had for this matchup. Of course, even though AK Krasilnikov did have himself a great play here, he's in fact, he's going to be the MVP here for Edge Infinity Esports. I mean, he did deal some great damage there, 225 scored, 12 eliminations, and of course, 9 assists to work with.
On the side of Knights of Honor, it was Notorious with 238 points, 11 eliminations, 8 assists, but a high death toll, 12 in his department. So slightly unfortunate for Knights of Honor. I really feel like that play from Krasilnikov was the bigger difference here in Wild West Saloon. If they would have been able to deal with them earlier on there during that mid-match period, I think it might have been a bit of a different story, because Knights of Honor were able to recapture the point and actually held on to it quite a long time, right? So if you eliminate the situation that happened around the 500-point mark, as I already said, it could have been a completely different story, but that's why we have the next map of Skyscrapers. And we saw already once today what Skyscrapers mean, and we'll see it again. But now in the grand finals, obviously a lot more is riding on the line here. And it also puts us in a situation where a passive play might come out from a team a lot more likely in a situation where they, say, get a roughly like 100-plus point lead.
Yeah, because Edge Infinity Esports, they really want to secure themselves the victory. They don't want to give any chances here for their opponents, but we'll see how it's going to be playing out. For now, a lot of times when it's going to be the start of Skyscrapers, you will be seeing teams fighting for some of that mid presence or lobby presence. Let's see which part of the map do the players decide to go for, and in fact, yes, it is going to be Knights of Honor already here, holding things down towards lobby, a very formidable position.
A very formidable position at that indeed. They are currently 50 points above Edge Infinity Esports. Now they make a break for it. Johnny will find Deadly, but Krasilnikov moving forward with that shotgun, even finds a double elimination. They're looking to get T-Mac. Hale helps out as T-Mac will fall, but Notorious now comes in with that shotgun, able to trade. Now there's 3 players from Edge Infinity Esports he needs to deal with. Dobar desperately goes for those Blade Masters and finds them as well. A double elimination at that. Krasilnikov instantly trading and finds a double of his own, able to chain these together, giving those extra points, even a triple now coming out from him, and that is very valuable points for Edge Infinity Esports, even though Knights of Honor are currently in the lead with 30 points and 3 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, even though Knights of Honor are very much in the lead here, Edge Infinity can still climb back. You have players like Krasilnikov. Oh, yes, there we go. Elimination streak there for AK Krasilnikov, and that's the thing. Because he's having such a great game, he's able to rack up the points here for Edge Infinity Esports. Yes, there is still a scoreline difference, but it's still possible that Edge can make this one work. For now, Massive, he does take down Johnny, fighting over the lobby presence. Oh, this is risky. The crossfire has been set up. He tries to pull out the G-Launcher, but it does not connect. And yes, Edge Infinity are able to hold things down here in the lobby, but just look at the HP. They're so low. Johnny should be able to pick up a couple of them.
Triple!
There we go. Triple elimination. He knocks him out of the ballpark, and he's going to try to go for more. Finally, it does have the back of his own teammates, and by this point, Edge Infinity Esports minimize the scoreline difference to only 50 points.
T-Mac gets a heavy tag and onto Massive there, but he's able to regain that armor very quickly. Now together with Deadly, they are going to be looking to eliminate Johnny here, and T-Mac might just have ran himself in a bit of a pickle situation, but still Knights of Honor are coming out on top in all of these engagements. 3 eliminations, 4 eliminations, and a clean wipe for them over Edge Infinity Esports on Skyscrapers here. Finally, a 100-point lead from Knights of Honor, and this is the moment where they can slightly park for a brief moment, get a breather, but it's not simply happening. Edge Infinity Esports instantly trying to retake the lead here. Only 30-point gap now, literally just in a span of 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's the thing. Are you sure you want to take a breather if you're Knights of Honor? Because things were looking so good for you. Right now, Notorious trying to go for the engagement. And yes, he does succeed at the end of it all. In fact, all of the eliminations right now working out for Knights of Honor. They have wiped out their opponents. The problem is, though, yes, even though they have been wiped out, they have now respawned with full HP and armor by their side. So Deadly, in fact, is going to go down to Notorious. Dober as well picking up the elimination. That's going to be an elimination streak for him as well. And as we do see Knights of Honor, they're on the brink of securing the victory.
A few more points required here, and a miracle needed for Edge Infinity Esports to grab the victory here. One more elimination should do it for Knights of Honor, putting this series at an even line. Knights of Honor will secure Skyscrapers, and this does mean that we are going to see at least 4 maps here. Excellent job for Knights of Honor on Skyscrapers, and really at times it felt like it was meant to be that Knights of Honor have the victory here. Just the elimination simply wouldn't go in the way of Edge Infinity Esports.
I mean, things were looking somewhat good there for Edge of Infinity Esports because you did have AK Krasilnikov again popping off. He was able to get himself some great eliminations. Of course, let's take a look at the MVPs of this game, but talking about this man in general, I think is also going to be crowned the MVP here for his side, and in fact, that is the case. Definitely deserving of his performance as he was able to get himself 181 score alongside those 10 eliminations.
Yeah, and on the side of Knights of Honor, Dobar with his elimination streak was able to land the MVP spot. 177 points, 10 eliminations as well, 5 assists and 6 deaths. So you can see one more time on these MVP screens that these teams are indeed going neck in neck. So very excited to see how things are going to play forward. Of course, we are going to be moving into Military Warehouse, but after that, another very, very interesting map,
yes.
Atrium.
Atrium is a very interesting map in the sense that it is probably one of the smallest control point maps is
Oh,
that
yeah.
you do have, those 3 control points. And the thing is, though, the spawns are so close by the big control point. You spawn, and you can go straight up to the point. It makes it for a very interesting map in the sense that it is so hard to predict who's going to come out on top victorious because the map is so small, it allows for very quick rotations, and it's a very hectic map. That is the sort of map where a more of a unskilled team is able to secure the victory on the back of their individuals, maybe having a good game, maybe just having some luck and some better communication. So, of course, that's a wild card. That is a very much a wild card here in the best of 5. So if you're going to have someone like Edge Infinity Esports right now securing the victory here on Military Warehouse on our 4th map, wow, it's pretty hard to say who's going to predict who's going to secure the victory.
Well, let us know in the chat who will, at least who you hope will secure the victory. And thinking about this and looking how these teams are playing, especially now in the grand finals, I really feel like this is a 5-map scenario on our hands.
Oh, it's
like,
impossible.
this is very, very plausible, especially like with Atrium. It doesn't really have the risk of having a triple cap. Essentially, at least it shouldn't happen on this level, in my opinion, right? Because the points being so close, the respawn timers are not that big, and essentially, in order for you to get a triple cap on Atrium would mean that you need a clean wipe and an instant cap at that, preferably having at least 2 points already in your favor. But we still need to get to that map. First, we are going to see Military Warehouse yet again a team deathmatch mode, and this will really show who's the better gunslinger.
Yeah, of course, team deathmatch, really got to keep things pretty simple. All you got to be doing is basically getting those eliminations, but of course, you want to have a sprinkle of teamwork as well, because you can go out there, go for those pushes, go and find some of those eliminations. Yeah, that's one of the ways you can approach a map like Military Warehouse, but it also makes a lot of sense to, be sticking alongside your teammates. Maybe have a sort of buddy system where you split up the group 2-2, and you have the players just going out there trying to find some of those eliminations. So there's obviously a lot of ways you can approach team deathmatch. In a map like Military Warehouse, being somewhat symmetrical, there's a possibility to make some very interesting plays. As of now, Military Warehouse is going to be our 3rd map here, and of course, it is team deathmatch.
Team deathmatch, time to shed some blood, and blood will be shed as Krasilnikov will fall to T-Mac there, even though gets one from the grave. Massive now will find another elimination for himself, giving the upper hand to Edge Infinity Esports early on here, but Johnny instantly will take down Deadly, closing down that point gap. The G-Launcher comes through from Dobar, does connect, and Hale will fall as Dobar, even looking to get a follow-up, will get the double elimination here as Deadly only now secures the elimination there. Krasilnikov slightly struggling, and T-Mac somehow comes out on top in that engagement together with Johnny. They're going to be pushing forward here. Gets a nice shot in, but Hale with the perfect aim will take him down. 15 points in the lead for Knights of Honor, but still full 4 minutes on the clock.
Dober overlooking things here from the middle position. This is a great spot for him to shut down some of these individuals. They don't anticipate his position, and he's going to punish them. Couple eliminations for him, and he's going to be going down at the end of it all, but it's still a lead here for Knights of Honor. And look at the chaos he was able to make here. Because of such chaos, the Knights of Honor players have gone in very close to the spawn here of Edge Infinity Esports.
Yeah, Edge Infinity Esports are currently on a dangerous task of even getting out of their base. The G-Launcher does launch, but simply doesn't connect. There was plenty of time for the players to strafe to the side and make sure they can avoid it. Right now, Knights of Honor, of course, being on low health, will fall back, but respawning and still having the lead, this does mean that Edge Infinity are walking a dangerous path right now. Hale and Deadly able to find these engagements, but instantly Johnny and Notorious are going to be able to trade back. Notorious even falls back, making sure he can pop a few of those heals. Dobar now will find elimination. Hale will find him. And now Hale being respawned, obviously slightly a setback for him. Johnny needs to make sure he's going to stay alive in this position. Pops the armor, is able to stay alive for such a long time, and the G-Launcher only now gets him out of that corner. 20 points in the lead for Knights of Honor, but it looks like that Edge Infinity Esports might be crawling back into this.
T-Mac, he wants to be quite careful in that position, but he can't be careful if a G-Launcher coming into your face. There we go. That's now going to be Edge Infinity Esports going down as well. Johnny taken down too, and this is looking great right now for Knights of Honor. At one point, it was somewhat of a close affair, but now Knights of Honor might just be able to run away with this one. Edge, yes, they have respawn. They're trying to go for those eliminations. They're massive. Yes, he gets a G-Launcher of his own, but by this point, it's going to be Krasilnikov to respawn with the double elimination.
Okay, so Edge Infinity Esports could still do this. They just need to make sure that they can trade effectively enough with their opponents, and it should be a done deal. Krasilnikov moving his way forward, walking a slightly dangerous path, as of course their opponents have full armor right now. Deadly will fall as he was only on half health. Notorious moving forward here will find more eliminations together with Johnny, who just found a double, and this might just be it for Edge Infinity Esports. Krasilnikov with the perfect aim will find elimination there, but that is it. Knights of Honor do secure Military Warehouse. The team deathmatch goes in favor of Knights of Honor. A back-to-back victory for them right now in this series, and what could be the inspiration needed to close it all out in Atrium.
Oh, it's definitely possible to close it out here on our fourth map, Atrium, but we'll have to wait and see if that's a possibility. For now, let's get back to Military Warehouse a little bit. Obviously, we didn't really get to see a lot of engagements there with the sniper rifles. A lot of times you're going to be seeing teams, going for a bit of more passive play, pulling out the Barracudas, you name it, trying to find some of those eliminations. But not in this case. This was very much an aggressive play from both sides for a long period of time here.
Well, let's see who was the most aggressive player on the MVP screen and see who managed to rack up the most amount of eliminations. For Edge Infinity Esports, it is going to be Hale with 109 points, 7 eliminations, 6 assists, and 6 deaths.
And of course, for Knights of Honor, we do have Johnny, 180 score, 9 eliminations, and 8 assists. Of course, again, it's only 6 deaths, which is actually pretty great here for Team Deathmatch. Yeah. And if we were to get back here, on Military Warehouse, we obviously saw the aggression coming out there from Knights of Honor. I mean, they were playing in a very aggressive play style. It looked like they were feeling very confident that they will secure themselves the victory on a map like Military Warehouse.
All right, well, let's see how things are going to go down in Atrium, the control point map, which is probably the biggest nuisance of them all, if you think about in terms of control points, because not having even enough time to talk about how rotations could be done now does mean that either side is really forced into a more of a reactive game style instead of just having like a solid plan in head, because like you really don't know how these engagements are going to go. You kind of have a bit of a prediction in terms of like some sort of a game plan, which point you want to capture first and how you will proceed afterwards, and then theoretically have scenarios what you can do depending on what happens. Bit of a theory craft there for you, but obviously, Atrium being that hectic and having those close respawn points, I really feel like it is a complete 50-50 right now. So let us know how the balance shifts in the chat in terms of who will come out in this map, and is this going to be the last map, what we could potentially see capture points, Atrium, grand finals, and what could be potentially the very final map we're going to see here today. The Titans are out, and who's going to make that first strike? Let's see.
Well, it's in fact going to be capture coming out there from the likes of Knights of Honor. It is B being captured, and they're taking their sweet time capturing A. Meanwhile, do you have Massive coming in there from the stairs? Yes, he's going to be shut down, but meanwhile, Hale, they're going for a bit of a ring around the rosy. It is going to be Hale taking down one double elimination for him. Meanwhile, they have lost presence on the B control point. That's going to allow Edge Infinity Esports to rack up the A and B control points. Meanwhile, T-Mac running through the explosives like Rambo. He's going to be able to take down one, but there's going to be Hale with the G-Launcher. Look at the damage being dealt. Knights of Honor, yes, they're going to keep that B control point, or will they? There's Massive taking down one more, two more in fact, and as we do see, this is a neck-and-neck affair.
The A capture point looks like is going to be contested by Edge Infinity Esports. Krasilnikov trying to stay alive here, but simply can't do it as Notorious comes in to help out with Hale approaching. Now Notorious on the rotation toward that B capture point, looking to jump down, but Deadly comes out on top with the Blade Master. Johnny instantly trading. Johnny gets the double elimination in that situation as the B capture point is almost going to go in favor of Knights of Honor. In the meantime, C is still in control of Edge Infinity Esports, and A capture point is in the pockets of Knights of Honor. Knights of Honor currently in the lead with 100 points, and they are looking to close out this series. Edge Infinity Esports desperately need to get those capture points.
And look at how T-Mac is playing. He's playing this one so aggressively. He's punishing anyone walking out of the spawn. You want to respond? Well, T-Mac's got you back. And
they're going for the triple cap. They have the triple cap on Atrium. I can't believe my eyes. Edge Infinity Esports only now managed to leave their spawn as Massive finds the Blade Master onto Johnny. Their Dobar will fall on the C capture point. Both C and A are currently going to go in favor of Edge Infinity Esports unless T-Mac can do something about it. He steps in and says, no way, Jose. Knights of Honor have this match.
Yep, as we do see, there's some trades going on here, but Knights
And
of Honor.
another triple cap.
Yep, the triple cap is there. Dobar still thinking, wait, should I go for this one or maybe just let the points win the game? As we do see Knights of Honor for them, 150 more points, and it will come out on top victorious. Massive. He's got other thoughts, though. He's going to try to capture the C control point, whereas the players right now from Knights of Honor, they're spread out quite thin, but I can't really blame them. At this point, they don't even need the capture points. All they need is the eliminations, and there we go. Oh, yeah,
Just dancing away.
The moment.
He knows they have it. There's no way Edge Infinity Esports can come back into this, meaning Knights of Honor will close out the series in a 3-1 fashion, and what looked like an excellent start for Edge Infinity Esports turned to disaster as Knights of Honor put a big dot at the end of that sentence saying we have this, and they have secured the victory here in grand finals of week number 5.
Absolutely well deserved. I mean, they play their hearts out, and that's when they secure the victory. But I mean, that Atrium game, that was very
I can't believe
interesting.
we saw triple caps twice.
It was a triple, yeah, twice the triple cap. But obviously, one of the players I want to shout out is obviously going to be T-Mac in that position. Like the fact that he was able to harass those opponents for such a long period of time, actually allowed to get the triple cap in the first place. Because you have players walking out of spawn, and they're thinking, right, my objective is try to capture one of the points. As he's going for the point capture. No, you do have T-Mac coming in the back lines, picking up not one, not two, but I think in that position he was able to get a ridiculous amount of eliminations. That definitely boosted the players.
Right, and even the fact that it's not necessarily that you even need to get the elimination being in that position, as long as you can drag out the time long enough and dish out good enough damage that your teammates will be able to afterwards easily pick those players off. That's really what granted him the upper hand, and you can see in point-wise as well, in that situation when T-Mac was in that position, before they got the triple cap, they were about roughly 150 points in the lead, something like that. And then afterwards, it just obviously skyrocketed because a triple cap just, it feels like a taxi meter sometimes. It just racks the money up very quickly. And of course, Dobar laying the dance down at the very end there, celebrating because he knows they had it.
And yeah, I guess we could actually take a look at the MVPs of this matchup. Again, one of the players I definitely want to give a shout out to, which I think is also going to appear on the MVP screen, is probably going to be... Oh yeah, T-Mac does appear there for Knights of Honor, of course, 229 scored, 11 eliminations, 5 assists. He was able to do so much impact for the squad.
Yeah, and on the side of Edge Infinity Esports, Hale did try his best, but unfortunately to him, it just simply wasn't enough on this Atrium map. And this goes to show how difficult Atrium can be, right? Because like even knowing that you can't leave your base safe enough, well, safe in a Guns of Boom match, but still safe enough, right? This does mean that like you're continuously under pressure to even, you don't know, you don't have any information which point even to approach.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's been a lot of matches today, and it's been a lot of unexpected action. And speaking of unexpected, let's see how the standings have turned out. There are changes, I hear, from the production team.
Yeah, of course, we do have in the first place, it's going to be back-to-back. Yes, they're not looking as dominant as they were beforehand because they were leading by, I do believe, 75 points last time around. Now they're just leading by 25, which still is a lead, but not a big one.
All right, well, Knights of Honor in that second position with 375 points. More importantly, though, Edge Infinity Esports have moved up in the rankings, so they are currently in that third position with 265 points, and Lazarus are in the fourth position. So while we were looking at all of this, nobody really can catch up with the first place. But in theory, if next week Knights of Honor don't even make it... Oh, it is still 100 points. Excuse me. My math is completely off today. Right, so it is settled then. Pro Series, it is settled. It is going to be back-to-back, and Knights of Honor attending it. Lazarus are probably going to feeling very disappointed, especially after this week. And Edge Infinity Esports, they can feel good about themselves. I mean, they did manage to get into the grand finals this week as well. Same as another week. I think that was week number 3, was it? in
I
Europe?
think Lazarus was able to actually secure themselves the grand final spot in the very first week there against back-to-back, and since then they were absent from the grand final appearances.
Oh, well, it was a different story today. In general, though, I am very impressed with things that are happening in Europe. As we already mentioned, we were talking about Southeast Asia, and that is the general region that we usually look into. Very quick reminder about the brackets, though, and how things went down today. One more time, it was a bit unexpected from ourselves as well that Edge Infinity Esports in that first matchup against back-to-back were able to secure a clean 2-0 victory, securing themselves in the grand finals. And the second matchup was between Lazarus and Knights of Honor, where Knights of Honor actually came out on top over Lazarus, pushing Lazarus down to that third, fourth place batter.
Yeah, and of course here, back-to-back was able to prove themselves to be the better team here, 3-0ing their opponents. They got themselves the W, and in the grand final here, Knights of Honor, they were able to secure themselves the victory here and cementing themselves as the second team here.
Yeah, so for Knights of Honor, they really just probably need to look back and see what went wrong on that Wild West Saloon map where Edge Infinity Esports did manage to secure that one map that they had.
Yeah.
But the series, of course, still goes in Knights of Honor's favor, and well played indeed, I must say, because it has been a very interesting glimpse into what happens in Europe.
Yeah, and of course here, with our two Pro Series finalists being made here, I mean, that's very good. I mean, back-to-back, we do have, back-to-back here making waves here. We do have Knights of Honor also securing themselves a ticket in the Pro Series Finals. Wow, this is looking going to be like a pretty interesting Pro Series event, folks.
But until then, we do have one more week ahead of us, so make sure you tune in next week, next Saturday, one more time for those action-packed weekends, those Guns of Boom. There is a new reward system in terms of ranking now out in Guns of Boom, so you have time to grind. Until then, make sure you meet us in gold. But that is going to be pretty much it from Guns of Boom today, and a huge thank you for everyone who joined. Until next Saturday.
See ya.